you want to leave everyone unmuted?
We can.
There we go.
All right, we're going to get started today. Thank you guys for joining me. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how to progress with walking. I thought about talking about running today, but not a lot of people who are having back pain or knee pain or that sort of thing are wanting to run, and for good reason. Running has a lot of compression on the joints and the spine especially, and so it can be really taxing on people. And so, but there are other ways that you can progress walking without going into a full run. So one of those ways would be to walk on hills. If you have hills nearby wherever you're walking, that's a good way to progress the intensity, because going uphill is going to really challenge your muscles to power through, and then going downhill they really have to slow down and control that movement, and so it gives you a little bit more variation. So walking hills is a great way to progress. Another way is to do interval walking, and I do this with running as well. So what you would do is you would walk at a normal pace for 1 minute, and then for the next minute you would walk at a very fast pace, or call it power walking. So you would walk as quickly as you can for 1 minute, and then you would slow it back down. To the third minute you'd walk at a normal pace, and then for the fourth minute again you would power walk. And this alternating back and forth you can do for about 10 minutes. And that's gonna really increase your heart rate, get your heart pumping. It's great for cardiovascular endurance. And that's a way to progress the intensity of walking without going into a full run. Now for my patients who are ready to start running, I do that same progression with them. I have them walk for 1 minute and run for 1 minute and alternate back and forth for about 10 minutes. And I have them do that 3 times. So say, not 3 times in one day necessarily, but maybe 3 times in a week. So say you go out walking 3 times every week. So for 1 week, I would have you alternate walking and running every minute. So 1 minute you walk, 1 minute you run for that week. And then the next week, I would have you switch it up and do 1 minute of walking, 2 minutes of running, back to 1 minute of walking. And you would do that for 10 minutes. And you'd progress. So each week you would increase the amount of time that you're either power walking or running by 1 minute. And you're always walking at that normal pace for 1 minute as well. So ultimately you would get to where you were doing a full 10 minutes of power walking or running before you walked for 1 minute at a normal pace. And you can increase those time increments as you go. And so that's how I would start if you're looking to progress towards power walking or even towards a little jogging. That's probably the best way to do it, to get your body used to the mechanics of running and get your muscles used to it as well. A lot of people want to just go right out the gate and run for a mile, but if you haven't done that in a while, you can really hurt yourself. So the best thing to do is intervals. I still like to run intervals when I go running. It's the best way to increase your heart rate and endurance. So today what we're going to do is go over all the exercises that we've been working on, but we're going to do it with circuits is what we call it. So we're going to do a glute circuit and then a lateral hip circuit, and Brett's going to help me with that today. So what he's going to do is go through each exercise and do 10 repetitions of each, and we'll repeat that circuit 3 times, and then we'll move on to the lateral hip circuit, and we'll do that one as well, and then we'll stretch to the end. So we're going to start with the glute squeezes. If you guys watched last week, we talked about a glute squeeze. It's kind of funny because you can't really see Brett doing it, but all he does is stand here and squeeze his bottom as tight as he can. That activates the glute muscles. It's the brain turning those muscles on, and that's what we want to do before we start squatting. So he's going to do that 10 times. All right, let's call that 10. So now he's going to move into a squat, and notice he has a TheraBand on today. So we talked about this last week too. That's a way to kind of progress these exercises as well. So he's going to go into a full squat here, holding onto the chair. That's 1. We're going to 10, 2, good, Really squeeze the glute muscles on the way up. That's really when the glutes are activated. Can you count for me, Brett?
5.
Thank you.
6.
Good. One more. Very good. All right, now we're gonna move into a reverse lunge. So Brett's gonna take 1 foot behind him and lunge back and bend the knees. And you don't have to go all the way down. You can do it modified. Only go as far as you can. This is 3, so we're going to 10 on knees.
6.
1 more. Good. All right, you're gonna switch legs and now do the same thing with the left foot in front, or if you did the right foot in front, go ahead and switch and do the other side. And go ahead and count for me, Brett, because I'm gonna
2.
talk and get distracted. So for
3.
this exercise, the glute that's really activated is the front leg. So in this case for Brett, his left glute is the one that's activated, and that's what you wanna feel contracting when you come up out of the squat. 1 more. Good. All right, now we'll do the lateral squats out to the side. So let's do left leg first here.
1. 2.
So here again, he's contracting his left glute as he comes out of the squat this way. And you really want to get your hips behind you and your trunk comes forward. That's going to help get the glutes activated. You shouldn't just be feeling it in your quad muscle. 1 more. Good. And then the other side. You can come with me. So on this side, his right leg is stepping out, so his right glute is activated. One more of these. 10. Good. So we're going to go back to the regular squats. 10 more just regular squats up and down. So same thing here, he really has his hips back like he's sitting in a chair. So his trunk is coming forward. He's not straight up and down, he's forward. And that's really gonna help contract the glutes. 1 more. Good. All right, let's move to the lunges again, the reverse lunges, going back. You can do them on the left side if you need to.
Okay. 3.
Brett has a bad knee, so we're talking about that.
4.
1 more of these. All right, go ahead and switch sides. We'll do your good knee next. Okay. So 7, 8, 9, 1 more. Very good. Now we'll move to the lateral step out, the lateral squats. 10 on each side. So again, he's really sitting back with his hips like he's going into a chair. You want to keep your knee right over your toes. So your knee shouldn't be way out in front of your foot. It should be right over your toes. Last one. Good. All right, other side. Same thing on the other leg. Two more. Last one. Very good. Let me check our time here. Okay, that was 2 sets of 10 for each exercise. So typically I would do a third set of 10, but we're gonna move on to the next set just for time's sake. So that was the glute series. Let's go ahead and do the lateral hip series. So for that one, Brett, I'm gonna have you move that band down to your ankles. If you have a band, go ahead and move it down to the ankle. So we're gonna start with the lateral steps and the diagonal steps. I think they can see you okay if you do it there. Actually, maybe face the camera. Yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, so what Brett's gonna do is step out to the side in a little bit of a knee bend. So both knees are bent and back in. Just like that, so 10 of those. So this is a little different than the lateral squats that we did. He's not getting as much knee bend. His legs are staying under his hips. And we're working more of the lateral hip muscles instead of the glutes, instead of the major glute muscle, the glute max. That was 10. All right, let's do the other side, same thing. So this one's pretty easy if you don't have a TheraBand. With a TheraBand, it activates those lateral hip muscles a lot more. But that's okay, it's still fine to do without the TheraBand. One more of these. All right, now he's gonna go in a diagonal, so a little bit behind him and out to the side. And for these, he's keeping his hips straight forward towards the camera and not opening those hips out to the side. So you should feel those hip muscles on the side kicking in. One more of these. All right, other side, same thing. So a little bit more of a knee bend for these. There we go. Two more. Last one. Very good. All right, now I'll have you face the chair, Brett, and let's do the fire hydrant. So this one, let's start with, so we'll move that band up to his knee. He's gonna bend one leg, and then his whole leg is gonna come out to the side and back in. Now this one's kind of hard to get the positioning like we've been talking about. You wanna avoid that hip hike to where the hip is really coming up. You want to, you don't want to do that. You want to keep the hip level, so just the knee and the foot come out and back in. You should feel those same muscles working on the side of the hip. 2 more of these. Last one. Good. All right, switch sides. 10 more, same thing on the other side. I'm going to correct his foot here. So you want to keep your foot right behind your knee. A lot of people want to turn that foot in or out. You want to keep it right behind the knee. Brett wants to turn his foot in. Last one. Very good.
That hard one's rough.
All right, now let's go to hip extension. So you'll have to move that band down again. All right, so for this one leg is gonna go behind you, straight back, and then forward again. So this one is for that glute muscle, so you should contract the glutes as you extend the foot behind you. Two more. Last one. Good. And then same leg, let's go out catty corner a little bit in a diagonal to the side. And for these ones, your toes should be pointed a little bit out. Two more. Last one. Good. Go ahead and switch sides. So other leg now goes straight back. If you have issues with your spine for this one, you want to be really careful that you're not extending the back as you kick the leg behind you. Small movements are okay. That was 10. Now out to the side a little bit with that leg. Good. Watch that rotation. You want to keep your hips pointed straight ahead. Good. All right, so now we'll repeat that whole series again. So let's start with the lateral steps with the TheraBand on the ankles. All right, so back out to the side, side steps, in and out. Two more. Last one. Good, and the other side. Two more. Last one. Good. All right, now the diagonal steps. So step just back.
Oh.
Okay.
I got two.
There we go. Good. So he's stepping not quite behind him, but a little bit out to the side, more like where I am here. His foot's coming out towards me. Two more. Last one. Good, and switch sides. Two more. Last one. Very good. All right, now we'll go to hip extension, facing the chair. So one leg will just extend straight out behind you. And watch that spine. You don't want to get too much extension in the back. It can be aggravating. So really squeeze that glute muscle and only go as far as your hip allows you to go without moving at the back. One more. Good, and switch side. Actually, that's not how we did it last time. So since I'm not confusing anyone here, so go ahead out to the side with that same leg. And his toe is pointed a little bit out to the side. as he extends the leg. Two more. Last one. All right, switch legs. Same thing, extending straight back. One more of these. Good, and then out to the side. You should be feeling those hip muscles kicking in pretty good at this point. If not, it's probably time to invest in some TheraBands. One more. All right, let's move that band up above the knee, and I'll have you do the fire hydrants next. So this is the one where he bends one knee, and then his whole knee and foot is coming out to the side. So really watch that foot to make sure it's not turning in or out. One more of these. Good, and switch legs. One more. Very good. Okay, so that concludes our lateral hip series. So we did the circuit for the glutes, and then we did the circuit for the lateral hips. So we did 2 sets of 10 of each of those, and when you do these on your own, I would probably recommend 3 sets of 10, just to really get those muscles fired up. But for time's sake, we're gonna go ahead and move to some stretching. So let's take that band off. All right, and let's go ahead and start with the calf. So one foot behind the other, toes pointed straight ahead. He's keeping his heel down in the back and leaning on forward. So you'll feel this all the way up to the knee here. Gonna hold that 30 seconds. Get my timer out. So you should be feeling a pretty good stretch in your calf. From here, I'm gonna have him bend the knee. So you see that slight knee bend is gonna get more towards his Achilles tendon. It gets the muscle underneath the big giant calf muscle. It's called the soleus. And it's a little bit further down, so when he bends the knee, he feels that a little bit more. All right, let's go ahead and switch legs. So regular calf stretch on the other leg, toes pointed straight ahead. You don't want them to come out to the side at all. They should be straight ahead. So about 20 to 30 seconds for this. You want to be careful when you're stretching too that you're not bouncing in and out of the stretch, because that makes the muscle contract and relax, and you just want it to fully relax. Go ahead and bend this knee. Now he's gonna feel it a little bit further down towards that Achilles. Yeah, this one's really tight. This one's really tight on Brett. So you may see his heel come up a little bit. That's okay. When you bend the knee, the heel sometimes comes up. Good, let's switch legs again. Same thing again on that left side. So I recommend these stretches about 2 to 3 times for 30 seconds or so. All right, go ahead and bend that knee. Get the soleus. So it's best to stretch after walking or running, not necessarily before. Stretching before exercise is important for athletes like gymnasts and figure skaters and ballerinas and people who really need that flexibility in order to do their sport. But for walking and running, you don't necessarily need to stretch before, unless you're like a sprinter or a hurdler. But for just walking, I recommend just stretching after. Go ahead and switch legs. Let's switch legs. All right, regular calf stretch here. All right, go ahead and bend the knee. So again, it's okay for that heel to come up a little bit. Almost done. All right, take a break there. Let's go ahead and move to a hip flexor stretch. So for that one, we're gonna do it using a chair today. You can do it on your knee as well, but we're gonna do it on a chair. So, yes. So Brett will put one foot up on the chair. And you wanna do this on something stationary, not a rolling office chair. One foot's on the chair, the other foot's on the ground. And he's just gonna lean forward. Be careful not to tip that chair over.
I'm like bouncing here.
Yeah. And for this, you don't necessarily have to keep the heel on the ground because we're stretching the hip flexor muscle, which is much higher up. And so we can stretch that muscle without keeping the foot on the ground. He can even be up on his toes if he wants to. It depends on how limber you are. And he's getting really far forward here for that hip flexor stretch, but he has to in order to feel it. And for others who maybe do a little bit more sitting and that sort of thing, these muscles will be tighter, and so you may not be able to lean as far forward, and that's okay. All right, let's go ahead and switch legs. Same thing on the other side. Good, we've got about 10 more seconds of this one. All right, let's switch legs. One more time on each side for this. So stretching your hip flexors are gonna help you get more hip extension as you walk with that leg behind you, which is gonna make your pace faster. That's what that's doing. So it makes you more efficient. You have a longer stride. When you step forward, you're able to get a little bit more distance between your feet. All right, go ahead and switch sides again. Last one here. Now again, this one can be a little aggravating for the back sometimes. So bringing that trunk forward as you stretch, go ahead and bring your trunk forward a little bit more, Brett. That's gonna help keep your back flat. Otherwise, if you're straight up and down and your leg is way behind you, you may get a lot of this, and that can be aggravating on the spine. So leaning forward is gonna help you keep your back flat. All right, you can come out of this one. Last stretch for you today is that piriformis stretch or figure 4 stretch, we call it sometimes. We did this one last week too. So what Brett is gonna do is just cross one ankle over, and he's gonna push his knee down and lean on forward. and hold that for 30 seconds. So this is for the piriformis muscle, which is a muscle that does a lot of the lateral hip strengthening exercises that we were working on. So it's good to stretch that out. And we also talked about last week, anyone who has SI joint pain, which is typically the pain right in the glute that bothers you when sitting and standing for longer periods of time. This is an exercise that really helps a lot with that. All right, let's switch sides. So same thing on the other side. So Brett will push his knee down and lean forward and towards his knee a little bit for 30 seconds here. All right, go ahead and switch sides again. We're gonna do each leg one more time. So this week we'll conclude our 4-week course on walking mechanics. You can stay tuned. We have some other courses that are still going on for the low back and hip. We have a yoga class, Pilates. We have one that's about to start on the neck and shoulder. And mine is to be determined. So we won't be doing walking after this week, but keep a lookout for the other courses that we're going to be offering over the next month. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Last time on this side. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email is kbond@n3pt.com. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about knee or back pain, about walking and how to progress it, about equipment or tennis shoes, anything like that. Feel free to email me if you have any questions at all. All right, you can relax there. All right, that's all for today. Thank you for joining me. Can you unmute them for me?
Absolutely.
Hey.
Hey, my legs are sore.
Good. Do you feel your body working?
I tried.
Christina, I just got a note from Allison that said Nick is out of surgery and did really well.
Oh, good. I know he's going to do well. He's already doing well. His knee looked good. I saw pictures.
Ooh.
No, I mean before surgery.
Oh.
I saw pictures. He had like good range of motion and his swelling had gone down a lot.
Well, it didn't seem to take very long. It sounded like they just took him in not long ago.
Yeah, I think they were just doing the ACL and cleaning up some stuff. So
I thought they were doing all 3 parts.
no, because his MCL is not severe enough, and his meniscus is. They're just going to clean it up. They won't.
Oh, wow.
It's mainly the ACL, so he'll be okay. It's not fun though.
No.
My cousin blew out his knee.
Is it the dirt bike cousin?
Yeah. All right.
Poor guy.
I have to go pump.
The real life. The real life
Real
stuff.
life comes back.
Yes.
All right.
All right. I'll see you later. Love ya.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
How do I?